Babies, my babies. We're set. All right. Today's script is maturity is not realizing something. It is realizing how to realize things. Which fucking love it, man. It's every once in a while, my my notes get to me. But so I write a note here. Maturity is a state. Uh, Intro of Daisy to Hero. Oof, I'm gonna pause for a second to do some research. All right, I have no idea. I tried to search just like super, I don't know, super off. Here it is down there. Looks like Daisy to me. That looks like it's an evolution from something to hero. But it's the intro, which means I was watching an anime. But let's recap. Maturity is not realizing something, it's realizing how to realize things. Maturity, approaching maturity as a state, and it feels like the reason I wrote this is because almost every single time we evolve, or our ego evolves with us. And effectively, what happens is we kind of capitalize on, like, oh, this is what I learned. And in a way, we connect with the new approach, forgetting how this, not really being aware slash conscious about how that approach came to be. So it's the process in its own that's not really like, see, I wanted to say get your attention, but the bigger problem is the minute we apply attention on something, I think that's when the ego kind of like, uh, I want to say grows, and it's a good thing, it's a positive thing. But most of our efforts are normally like, there's that gap between like realizations, because we kind of learn how to do something and we do it the same way until we start doing it differently. And it feels the whole idea of like being present is the fact that anything you do, you cannot do relinquishing whatever it is you think you already know. And it's simple. Uh, the simplest way to explain it is if you look at a tree leaf, are you looking at the leaf or are you looking at what your mind decides is a leaf? And so it's not really a philosophical question more than it is. When I mention book, you automatically think of the structure of a book. But what exactly are you looking at? It's those details. It's just basically like the cover, the pages. Maybe a book is a lot simpler, the size and all that stuff. But normally we different sizes of books, different shapes, we kind of like categorize them as a book. And so we no longer are looking at the book, we were looking at what we understand is a book or what we know is a book. And that's when we kind of like devote attention to something. Devote is a good word to use. So the truth behind it is like our maturity is not when we realize something, because the minute we realize something, it's the kind of like is the out it's the outcome of the process of realization. And that process of realization is something that we never truly realize because it's not something we can measure maybe, right? It's not something tangible within the world that can give us feedback on it. So it's probably one of those like trust slash belief slash, I do not want to say understanding because I have a strong sense that when I say understanding, I'm also labeling something, right? Or maybe there's the difference that I would like to make between understanding and comprehending. So let's go back. When we actually devote attention to something, that's practically when we're calling our ego to notice it. whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously. And that allows us to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, that that now has become a part of us. And since that's a part of us, everything we do right now includes that in the reasoning or in the process or in the structure. So things like this are ultimately a detachment from yourself because you're pointing attention at something in the outside world, and then you're you're adding attachment to the ego and creating a detachment from yourself. And the goal is to have the ego detached in order for it to continually absorb and to continually like build without any sense of like not structure, without any real image behind it. And then effectively after that, what happens is it just kind of like characterizes the parts of you that have intention towards things. And maturity for me is kind of like that realization. To give you an example, uh, in whatever I'm trying to do, I am met with frustration often. But my biggest hurdle is not realizing that I am frustrated. Because what happens normally is the first thing I do when I'm feeling frustrated is I put stuff in front of me that I want to do. I literally would be like, I need to get this done. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to finish this. I need to finish that. And I literally just put all those things in front of me. And the thought behind it, or the ego's approach behind it, is if I put more pressure on on myself, and or that the idea is finishing these things will relieve my frustration 100%. But it's like I have a poem written here, basically, it's in Arabic, and it starts with let go of blame and give me the medicine that caused my pain. It's in Arabic. And it's about drinking because like the poem is about drinking, and the guy literally says like, do not judge, do not blame me for being a drunk. Just give me more liquor so I could go back to being human. So the thought behind it was very much I add the shit that's making me frustrated, and I intentionally just kind of like isolate them in a way that makes me even more frustrated. So effectively stepping away from the process of like approaching things in a mature way, maybe, and just pretending to know what the fuck I'm doing, which is what we normally label maturity, I guess. Maybe in my culture. So the idea is when I realize that I'm frustrated, I kind of like feel it's a eureka moment. But then I handle it in a way that adds to the frustration, which means me realizing I'm realizing the wrong thing. What I need to realize is how I got to the frustration to begin with. And I probably start with realizing I'm frustrated without jumping the gun. And I realized, oh, I'm frustrated. How did I get here? And that is where kind of like maturity thrives. Because ultimately you're giving yourself that extra. Yeah, so like how many whys? There's an entrepreneurship, there's an experiment that goes the five whys. And it's like, why are you doing what you do? And you keep answering that question and asking another why. And normally by why number three, you feel you realize you're stuck. And by why number four, you scoop a bit of like some depth from you. And by why number five, you realize the true essence of what's driving you, which is the most important thing. And so like, why am I frustrated? Why did I get to this? Why did I start moving in that direction? And why was I triggered and what triggered me, right? That is probably what maturity is. Like we're still pointing our attention on one thing, right? Because we're still what we pointed our attention from an ego's perspective. Normally we point the attention at realizing something. We're still pointing our attention on that something, but not just it's not limited to the realization of it. We're pointing our attention, we're devoting our attention to that something, but we're fully devoting the word devoting works best because you shouldn't just be proud that you realize something because realizing something is the first step towards understanding how it came to be and why it came to be and from where it came to be and what made it be. And that's still the same attention. It's still the same line of attention, but one kind of like encapsulates it and creates an existence of it, while the other one dismembers it and kind of like relieves it of the pressure of existence. Maturity. It's a video. I love you guys.